Well, England returned to their training base in the shadow of Sugarloaf Mountain this morning with some hard graft to be getting on with. There had been some bumps and bruises picked up on Saturday. Daniel Sturridge and Joe Hart were both carrying knocks, but both trained this morning. And the very good news was the sight of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, the Arsenal midfielder, back in the warm-up with the group. But the game on Thursday might just have come a bit too soon for the Arsenal player. The turnaround time is short, with England travelling to Sao Paulo in 48 hours. So tomorrow is the only day that Roy Hodgson has to really work on his team shape and his key dilemma, what to do with Wayne Rooney. As good as Raheem Sterling was in the game against Italy, many feel Rooney, England's number 10, is best in that more central position.
Obviously Wayne was on the left in the first game, and in the second or third game could be in a different position. He's got 93 caps and he's very experienced, so when he's on the pitch, he can make a difference.
Well, England held their final session before they head to Sao Paulo to face Uruguay behind closed doors this morning, putting their final touches to tactical preparation. Frank Lampard, when asked to sum up the mentality required for this game, said it's quite simple. We have to prepare as though it's a cup final. Gary Neville told us yesterday Wayne Rooney could feature in a different position, but much will depend on how Roy Hodgson intends using Raheem Sterling. Exceptional against Italy, and the young Liverpool man has been talking for the first time about his tournament debut.
It was obviously a dream come true for any young lad to obviously make an appearance in such a big tournament. But when I was on the pitch, I just tried to think of it as a normal game, and not really think about the importance of it, and just try to express myself and try to do my best for the team.
I think Raheem announced himself, last season, but his second half of the season, watching it from afar, was something a bit spectacular from a young English player. So it's great to see him carry that into the England squad. I'm sure he's going to get better and better. We'll remember our early days in the squad, and there is an adapt. You have to adapt. Some adapt quicker than others, and Raheem looked like he was one of those, which is a great thing. But he'll get even better for us.
Well, Uruguay were the first to train in Sao Paulo Stadium this afternoon, with Luis Suarez having all the cameras fixed upon him. The Liverpool striker took a full part in training and says he's ready to start against England. But his coach, Oscar Tabarez, told us that Suarez cannot be 100% fit. What's been noticeable is that England haven't been too keen to engage in the Suarez debate and how big a factor he might be if he returns. Roy Hodgson wants his players to concentrate on their own performance.
I'm not going to speak to Luis Suarez tomorrow 2 hours before the game. I think that would be very unprofessional and very disrespectful to my own teammates. I'm very good friends with Luis. We have had some banter and some conversations in the build-up to this game, but there'll be no communication tomorrow.
They must be disappointed with their opening game, which didn't go the way they wanted it to go. But I'm pretty sure that, like us, that's now the past. It has no effect upon the game tomorrow, and we expect tomorrow to be seeing Uruguay with all their big guns blazing. We'll have to make certain that our defending as a team and as a unit is sufficient to keep them at bay, while of course asking questions of them ourselves.
So Suarez is back, but Diego Lugano, Uruguay's captain, will be missing with his own knee injury. And as for England, they train this evening, and we expect them to start with the same 11 that faced Italy in Manaus, with one significant tactical change. Wayne Rooney coming back to his more preferred number 10 position, and Raheem Sterling going back to a wider role. It's difficult to recall more positivity around an England squad after an opening game defeat, but a sense of the reality in the situation is starting to dawn, and that is perhaps the biggest challenge facing this group of players. They know the repercussions if they were to lose.
It's Italy. All we talked about for weeks and months is how we're going to deal with Pirlo, and we didn't really deal with Pirlo. All we talked about for weeks and months now is about how we're going to deal with Suarez. Are we going to deal with him better than we did against Pirlo? I know it's a different position, obviously, but he's the key man.
I wish they knew. But if you have more of the ball, and you score goals, the less effective Suarez has got to be. It's mostly what you've got to do when you've got the ball, and then just be aware of him. Because I think there's moments, he's practically unstoppable, Suarez. It's what you do with the ball. And I think if England make the chances that they made against Italy, then you'd be happy with that.
Roy Hodgson's got to decide whether he's going to start with the same team that lost to Italy, and if he does, whether he's going to shuffle it around a bit. Now, if he does that, that would mean moving Wayne Rooney from the wing into the centre where he'd much rather play. Now, the clues we've been picking up by watching training this week in Rio de Janeiro is that's probably what he's going to do. And if he does do that, at least Rooney's going to get more of the ball and get a better chance to add to the 39 goals he's already scored for England and perhaps notch his first ever World Cup goal.
A familiar chant in an unfamiliar city. England fans are arriving in Sao Paulo and are finding a warm Brazilian welcome.
It's a lovely, lovely place, and they've been good. It's brilliant here.
It's an awesome holiday. Love it. It's the atmosphere, all the people, the Brazilians.
But in this sprawling city of 22 million people, a few thousand England fans haven't exactly dominated the streets. Their presence is low-key and good-natured, even when coming face-to-face with their Uruguayan rivals. The police aren't complacent, though. They have their sights on this stadium, monitoring it and hundreds of other key locations across the largest city in the Southern Hemisphere. But while the build-up to this match has been trouble-free so far, the authorities will be watching to ensure it stays that way from this new command and control centre. The man in charge is not concerned about any hooliganism. He says they're working with the British police to stop troublemakers getting anywhere near the match. Most are here to have fun, and some have come the hard way. One group of fans in this school bus battling through the worst traffic the Americas could throw at them. They've driven 9,000 miles from Canada.
Why? I think it's the same thing. There's only going to be one World Cup in Brazil in my lifetime. We're kind of at the age where it's okay to pack in your jobs for a few months.
Come on, England, come on!
For most, though, this is a shorter but no less memorable holiday. They just hope they'll have a reason to celebrate tomorrow.
Philip Neville has joined me pitch side. It's been a story of the two centre-forwards, if you like, all week, hasn't it? The two big names in Rooney and Suarez. Let's talk about Rooney first. Expected to start in that number 10 position. How's that going to change that dynamic with those three behind Sturridge?
Well, I think against Italy we played a counter-attack system through Sterling in that number 10 space. Wayne Rooney's back in his best position. He'll drop back into midfield. I think we'll have more possession in there, and with him dropping in, he'll thicken us up. Steven Gerrard will be able to get on the ball a lot more because we'll be able to outnumber the opposition in there.
But it's a sign, I think, of their confidence, Ben, that they've named an unchanged side despite that defeat to Italy in Manaus. But crucially, Wayne Rooney has been brought into his favoured central position in England's attack, and if they ever needed him to score his first World Cup goal, then goodness, this is the time for Wayne Rooney to do it. How they need him tonight. Luis Suarez, as expected, starts for Uruguay, and he certainly is a man to be feared for the English defence. Roy Hodgson says that his team has got that defeat out of their system. Now is the perfect time to prove they have.
From the rainforest to the concrete jungle, time to respond to the threat of an early flight home. Rooney to strike. It's wide. Over Muslera and off the bar. And here's Cavani with Johnson backing away. And Suarez on the end of it. Luis Suarez gives Uruguay the lead. Brilliant movement from the Liverpool man. Never mind the knee, the head's all right. England now have to get their heads right. Johnson's cross! Rooney's there! Wayne Rooney's first ever World Cup Finals goal! The Uruguayan resistance has been broken down!
Oh, it was a relief on the face of Wayne Rooney there.
Knocked on by Cavani, and there's no flag here. It's Luis Suarez! And Luis Suarez has thumped it in! One of the simplest goals you'll ever see! England lost concentration. Most crucially of all, they lost Luis Suarez!
It doesn't miss from there.
The emotion is writ large across the face of Luis Suarez and all of his Uruguay teammates. That's it. Uruguay win in Sao Paulo. Luis Suarez won it for them. 5 Liverpool players in the England starting lineup, but it was the one wearing the blue of Uruguay who made the impact. It just had to be Luis Suarez. Uruguay 2, England 1.
I don't think anybody let me down. I don't think anyone let the team down. I don't think anyone let the country down. We conceded 2 goals. I don't think we We allowed many goal chances. There were 2 right at the start of the second half. But if you take the rest of the game, I don't think we conceded many goal chances at all.
Just frustrated, obviously disappointed with, the first goal, about 4 ricochets in the middle of the park, and then someone dinks a ball over your head. It's never nice. It was difficult. You're playing against some quality players, but I don't think Joe had that much to do again, other than picking the ball out of the net. Pretty similar to the Italy game. So up to a certain point we did well, but you got to look at the facts. We conceded 2 goals.
We were in the driving seat the whole game, even being 1-0, 1 goal down. I think we scored with plenty of time to go. I think we had, Uruguay's back to the wall. They were defending deep, and they've got their goal from a long boot. They've not prized us open. It's incredibly frustrating, but we've got to move on. We've got 1 more game, and we've got to hope we've got something to play for.
We're relying on other people, and it's exactly the position we didn't want to find ourselves in, but it's here, and we have to take responsibility for where we are. But of course, we'll be professional and see what happens over the next 4 or 5 days to see whether we've got a chance going into the last game. But it's very disappointing after 2 defeats.
A couple of weeks ago it was one of the highlights of my career, and collectively I think, and then a few weeks down the line it's one of the worst feelings I've had. So the only satisfaction we can give is that we give absolutely everything and tried our best, but it just weren't good enough.
Well, that is almost that, but not quite. Back-to-back defeats mean England's fate is out of their hands. If Italy fail to beat Costa Rica tomorrow, the 3 Lions are out. However, if the Italians win their remaining 2 games, England could still qualify on goal difference by beating Costa Rica. England are on the brink of an early World Cup departure. Let's get straight to the whys and the wherefores with Alan Shearer, Rio Ferdinand and Clarence Seedorf. Alan, it's 1958 was the last time England failed to make it through the group stages, having qualified for a World Cup, and it's the first time they've lost their opening 2 matches at a World Cup. It makes painful reading.
Yes, it does, and so long as we continue to defend as we did tonight and in the first game against Italy, then we will struggle to progress. I didn't see many positives in that performance tonight. Rooney's goal, perhaps his first World Cup goal, but there wasn't any big performances from any of our big players.
It was a game where we haven't been outclassed, we haven't been outplayed. We were always in that game. And it's self-inflicted, that's the problem. And when they analyse that, when they have a look at that, the players and the staff, they will be devastated, they really will.
Well, basically it was a defensive horror show. When you have a flat back 4, we've said it many times, you get 4 men in position, you have a bit of cover, and you have good communication, it's exceptionally difficult to score. Positioning last night, very poor. Cover-wise wasn't there, and communication in the 2 matches has been abysmal, and they've paid the ultimate price for it.
Jerry, how do you think England performed last night, generally?
I don't think they played badly. I think I have to agree with what the players were saying. They were in the game, 1-1, 5 minutes to go. You're still kind of in a driving seat, if I can say, if you want to qualify and win your last game. But if you consider goal the way you considered that goal in at the end of the game, the second goal was no communication, like Alan said.
It's just a pity, as I say, the lack of concentration, the lack of reading the situation at this level is crucial. Against these strikers, then even more.
But then you come to the basics and the fundamentals, and we're going to focus on the set plays against them. I mean, it was just beyond belief what was going on. I mean, the England players can cite the fact that Joe Hart didn't have a lot of saves to make, but there was panic in that English defence so many times.
Yeah.